Hey, this is Andrew Brown from Exam Pro, and we're looking at the concept of being highly fault tolerant. And this is the ability for your service to ensure there is no single point of failure preventing the chance of failure. So when we looked at high availability, we also said that there was no point of failure, but when we really talk about that, we're really talking about being highly fault tolerant because there's the word failure in the word, and that is what being fault tolerant is. So how do we prevent failure? Well, we use the concept of failovers. So failovers is when you have a plan to shift traffic to a redundant system in case a primary system fails. And so I have a graphic here that represents a primary database failing over to a secondary database. So the idea is that we have a copy of our production database and we're going to call that a secondary system. And every time something is written to our primary database, it's going to be synced. So it's going to be sent over to our secondary database. So it's up to date with the latest database. And then if the primary database happens to fail for whatever reason, whether it's hardware or otherwise, it's going to detect that there's something wrong with the primary database and it's going to fail over to the secondary database, and the secondary database is going to be promoted to being the primary database. The key thing to understand is that the secondary database is on standby. It's not in actual use. It's only in use when the failover occurs. So what would you use in Azure to build out a highly fault tolerant system? That's where Azure Traffic Manager comes into play. So this works at the DNS level. The idea here is that you can fail over from a primary system at the DNS level to a standby secondary system. This is really great if you have regional failures. You could probably also use a load balancer, but this is the case that I'm showing here. So there you go.